Here, in the Microsoft world, we stumbled upon each and every synthesizer upon approval of the DECTalk DTC-01 program. Some may have explained to themselves, how was this on a site that's not working, or why was this not on Valapalka? In this recent audio, I've cited the many histories, which occurred to the SAPI 2.0 text-to-speech platform, along with the other versions, for a variant, was sagaciously approved by said synthesizer, followed by the same applied visitor, named Jonathan Agari, who was reluctantly the father of Hiroya Agari, a renowned text-savory artist but also works at a DECTalk company, in 1996, and was moved by the Microsoft company when Hiroya managed to operate those synthesizers circa December 23 of 1998. Thus resulting the system to execute the said function. The synthesizers for DECTalk were either two other versions, the pre-SAPI 1.8 and the SAPI 2.0 version. Despite having it on other IBM or Microsoft computers, some might have Windows 3.1 on them, or possibly other computers that have OS ready on them. To be completely honest, I have descrambled part of the entire evidence in Audacity, and I skipped portions of this part, because it was taken from 2 or 4 sources, from the Kimura family to the others, who worked at the Digital Equipment Corporation, from 1981 to the next. Hello there. I am. Wait, did you say my name is Radar Overseer Scotty? Well, yes. I am the SAPI 4 version, made by TrueVoice. I was named the TrueVoice American English Text-to-Speech Voice in your text-to-speech synthesizer. I was approved by the Lernout and Osti company, aside from Lernout and Osti Michael and Lernout and Osti Michelle. But this all started by a DECTalk speech synthesizer, called the DECTalk DTC-01. When this first came in 1984, Stephen Hawking was the first to use it. I had a general male voice variant. Some others may find it a little weird. In those DECTalk days, I was named as DECTalk Henry. Unlike myself as Scotty, DECTalk Henry came with a variety of variants for the DECTalk DTC-01 speech synthesizer. My DECTalk origins go back to the CLAT variant, in which it was deprecated and reused by Microsoft as Peter. Of course, my version is different than mine, but don't take my word for it.
Notice how my voice is almost the same as the preceding version of Radar Overseer Scotty. This version comes in SAPI 2, before SAPI 3.0 commenced.
Don't forget about me. While I was created by the DECTalk DTC-01 speech synthesizer, I was nicknamed as DECTalk Cameron. Much similar to the roughness of my other voice, which is me, Jimmy. This version was released in SAPI 2.5. Although I was known as DECTalk Cameron, it doesn't really affect the similarity of DECTalk Henry, which happens to be Scotty.
However, in some other versions of the DECTalk DTC-01 speech synthesizer, my name had to be rarely known as DECTalk Scotty. This was version 3 of my new voice. However, the CLAT variant of this voice clearly produced its true voice of my current version, whereas DECTalk Scotty still provided the general CLAT variant used for Stephen Hawking's speeches. There is some recreations, though. It got integrated by William Kimura on May 10, 1987.
My future mentor is artist Jokichi Morita. Most even know me as the former partner of Hurst Vonsal. I founded the Warner Brothers company together. Some say I was the main helper of Vilmos Foods. We started working for 20th Century Fox together. Even William Fox gave me the honors. Greetings, Stephen Hawking. My name is Shoichi Kimura. I was born on May 18, 1878. I am running Award Modular BIOS V4.51PG, an Energy Star Ally.
That was a sample audio from my former voice, which is DECTalk Scotty. As you can plainly see, DECTalk Scotty, as heard from the previous audio, was reciting his greeting letters to Stephen Hawking, whom DECTalk Scotty was provided as Shoichi Kimura.
Same thing for me. In SAPI 4, my name is Eddie, known to the internet world reflectively as Hank. But when DECTalk came to me, I had a clear and profound voice during the late 80s. My DECTalk name had to be DECTalk Edward. This was originated by a former DECTalk member named Edward Houghton, who made a sudden recreation of my own voice in new versions of DECTalk DTC-01. Unlike Hank's, DECTalk Edward had the most clarity and concise language. It was the latest version of the DTC-01 when it got integrated on September 24, 1992.
Pleased to meet you. My name is DECTalk Edward. You might have known me for not only my age, but also the style of what owls use me for True Voice Hank. I hope you all will have tons of fun using my voice as much as I do.
In some versions of the UK and other countries, DECTalk Edward became known as DECTalk Hank, hence the same name of its character. I was upgraded to SAPI 3.5 on August 20th, 1990, when DECTalk released a new name for my voice. My new name had to be Scott Ferguson. Unlike one of my previous versions, this version enters the MS-DOS universe, making me the first text-to-speech voice to ever cooperate with Microsoft. It shares the same radar overseer Scotty-like style, nonetheless it is a favorite for all users.
I too had a DECTalk version of my voice. In SAPI 4, my name is Douglas, known preferably to the internet world as Guy. But I was released to the DECTalk DTC-01 on June 20th, 1987 under my DECTalk name, DECTalk Sam. And no, it's not like Microsoft Sam, but unlike Guy's, DECTalk Sam carried the most deeply voice that the company's stock went up high. I had to be deprecated to version 2.5 on May 4th, 1989 as DECTalk OS. But still, it was a very catchy voice, provided by DECTalk themselves.
Howdy there, partners. The name be DECTalk Sam, the meanest cowboy in the West. I am a text-to-speech voice provided by DECTalk. You may have noticed my voice similarity with True Voice Douglas. No secret, huh? I hope you lil buckaroos enjoy using my voice as much as I have.
I too had a DECTalk version of my voice. Normally, in SAPI 4, my name is Microsoft Sam, or simply Sam. But I was appeared in the DECTalk speech synthesizer as DECTalk Dustin. You may have noticed my prototype Microsoft Sam voice styles, but this is more enhanced, unlike Sam's. DECTalk Dustin had a variety of best voice variants there is. Unfortunately, I resigned from the DECTalk voice status in 2001, leaving me in Windows Whistler.
And thus, DECTalk was converted to Speakonia, whereas the main voices, originated from the DECTalk synthesizer, were updated to their true voices. My name will still be Radar Overseer Scotty, no matter how I'll change my name. But, in order for the synthesizers to maintain its status quo, a set origin of the Microsoft mic took its stand in the 1990s. I'm pretty sure and aware of that clone of yours in question is no secret. Here's how the prescribed audio got from.
Over time, in September 26 of 1974, a new DECTalk synthesizer had just took the market by storm. It's hard to believe that such an anticipated time was nearly following its path, while after a new synthesizer unit was being announced no later than October 6th. In spite of a different DECTalk DTC-01 voice, some might have an interesting, yet peculiar name. Well, sometimes it might impersonate the Microsoft mic, as to people who might calculate this situation. That said name had to be DECTalk Mansfield, the same version of which it was been introduced to all DECTalk DTC-01 synthesizers in 1979. Retrieving the said ideology, this clone of Microsoft mic has its same Microsoft mic style, according to the voice, hence the SAPI 3 name of Mark Lund, has clearer and epigrammatic pronunciation, as well as discretionary language, and has immersive reading, in which you can use in any resource, like for example, Microsoft Word, or Google Docs. DECTalk Mansfield is similar to the known mic, of course, that is, Microsoft mic, but, hence the quality of it. This was also a SAPI 2 version of DECTalk Mansfield, but notice that it isn't a part of MS-DOS. There were similar names instead of a given name, such as Mansfield. The first one was DECTalk Xavier, the second, DECTalk Timothy, the third, DECTalk Wallace, and the last one was DECTalk Cecil. One of those four chosen names was not considered contraband, to be fair. Instead of choosing a name, in August 22nd of 1981, the first ever name to be introduced was the one and only, Mansfield, in which they added its company throughout this era. Before or after it was DECTalk mic, the current version of Microsoft mic, DECTalk's Mansfield is very concise, and is perfect for everyday use, even when its clone of said text-to-speech voice of Microsoft mic was not to be confused with the original SAPI 3 state of Mark Lund, the alpha beta persona of the now or beforehand Microsoft mic, but assume the originality of my voice.
My name is DECTalk Mansfield. You might have known me as the classic SAPI 2.0 version of the Microsoft mic, but very precise and clear. Don't take my word for it, just see if you can try it out for yourself.
The name was taken from a signed customer named Grover Mansfield and was integrated to the now-known company as Microsoft in the late 2004. From here on now, we've taken to the highest nostalgic moment as other new voices introduced by late synthesizers from throughout this year. The audio was as follows. Before Mansfield was another voice that had carried on a woman-like movement in style. Jonathan Agari wished Shizuka Hashira Agari or Shizuka Agari to still edit the first synthesizer by coding within the help of his assistant, Hiroya Agari himself. Before that, the audio was then public to the media in question, signifying that what Agari did was nothing but a true and complete success.
Before my version came out in SAPI 2.0, I was known reflectively to this day as DECTalk Jasmine, but in later life, it was particularly named as DECTalk Florence. Much like the SAPI 3.0 clone of Melanie Granfers, DECTalk Jasmine or DECTalk Florence has the same woman-like appearance than none other than Microsoft Mary's, but it can impersonate that said voice from a SAPI 4 text-to-speech default voice of mine. Like the preceding of Jasmine's, Florence has pretty much the same style as that of the Melanie Granfers one, but it clones the Microsoft Mary together to have it look just like what it matches by the said voice. DECTalk Florence, other than Jasmine's, is noted to be the first ever variant to be used in this synthesizer before it was being coded out by a Japanese assistant and a customer, who worked at the Digital Equipment Corporation, long after it was from the 1980s. Generally, this voice was taken from two former vice managers named Jasmine Murden and Florence Gamblin, of whom they consequently worked at this company before their first arrival of the DECTalk organization in June 13 of 1983, while the two others were being placed as voice variants from a DECTalk DTC-01 synthesizer. It still retains the said copycat of a SAPI 4 version of Microsoft Mary, but it's not that of a Melanie Granfers act.
My name is DECTalk Jasmine, but in later life, I am already known as DECTalk Florence. I am the now known classic version of the Microsoft Mary you speak of, but I know a lot about her. Now don't judge my look and appearance of what it looks like. I will always and forever be beautiful for my ecstasy. And don't you forget that my voice is not of a Melanie Granfers act.
Most of you will still notice of how my voice variant came into us after its first releasing of Windows 10 in July 2015. To make it up to you, I also have one that is clearly not of a David-like impression. Some of you might know me that I was visibly moved by the DECTalk organization to promise their customers to add me to the synthesizers, and they were right also. They had to name me as the first ever DECTalk Felix. Not unlike the cartoon version of Felix the Cat, DECTalk Felix has a very manly tone through its looks, and its foreseeable variety is just like the Microsoft David of it, but not as clearer as the ones you see in other Windows 10 operating systems. Felix may be in the past for centuries, but the lesser David may still be giving high hopes for the future as Jonathan Agari continues to make more voice variants with other names from a century born to the next. DECTalk Felix is kind of like Microsoft David's, but hence the impersonation act of a mere imposter than Rogers, which is proven to be the Microsoft Mark, a new guy in Windows 10. No voice synthesizer can defamate the now convex quality of a more futuristic tone of David, because the tuning of Felix's is quite surreal.
I am DECTalk Felix. I am particularly not that of a cartoon character of Felix the Cat, but I have much more style than his. Please note that I have a clearer version of that of Microsoft David's, but it's nothing new. It's just that the past is calling me, but the future wouldn't be too sure if it calls for me. I wouldn't be off wandering in another Windows systems, haven't you?
We should talk about Zero's own voice variant, but other sources say that she's only cloning the Betty altogether for default voice than Microsoft Mary, or DECTalk Jasmine or Florence. Therefore, the evidence of Zero was not meant to be seen by anyone, especially for the ones that are interested in the average pitch and head size. Here is a descrambled quote in which the audio was last reissued in March 12 of 1997.
In these later times, I was probably known to the DECTalk organization as DECTalk Christina, a further SAPI 2.0 text-to-speech voice variant that came from a source originated from Digital Equipment Corporation. The name for DECTalk Christina was then taken from a second manager from outside the building, 2 floors down on ground floor, named Christina Jordan, who was an assistant of the 2 other vice managers, who were then used as voice variants later until 1998. It wasn't very much longer right until July 2015, where a default voice was already at its peak. The voice for a Zero compact was that of a zero-tolerance shift of gears with zero impact. It couldn't stand to let someone put a brake on the car without knowing the DECTalk Christina was just a mere impersonation act of that which is the Zero-like impression of said DECTalk DDC-01 synthesizer. Paradoxically, of how long that would have happened many years ago is that DECTalk Christina still manages this voice variant as of today, and most of you will know it isn't just the Microsoft Zero we know.
We might not be able to show the audio reflectively because there wasn't any piece of coding to use before sharing it to the public and media. We were unaware of this situation that the people from Digital Equipment Corporation have many difficulties putting DECTalk Christina on our platforms, and that's what makes the company feel strange about her.
This phenomena occurred no more than 20 years ago. It's pretty bad that Zero was the only one to mention about DECTalk Christina, hence the said name of it. We didn't know who was behind all of this, but the cause of this is temporarily unknown. As we further investigate the finding of Christina was actually a mere copycat of Jasmine or Florence.